Political has an article that's got the bootlicking left, the social justice left, the left whose identity is anti-Trump left, and that includes Republicans as well. It has them all jumping around and saying all kinds of things that show me that they are the true threat to democracy. The headline from Political says Trump likely committed felony obstruction. This is a ruling by a federal judge. He said, Trump. Oh, yeah, the headline. Well, the headline is shocking. Trump likely committed felony obstruction. A federal judge ruled Trump more likely than not. What does that mean, Judge? More likely than not? Does that mean he did or he didn't? Is that another virtue signal to the bootlicking left? What does more likely than not mean? Is it 51%? Is it 50.5%? Is that a legal argument, sir? The backdrop of this is the J6 committee. The J6 committee is the legislative branch. They are not the judicial branch. So I don't even know why we're talking about criminal type charges. The whole point of the legislative branch to do a hearing is to enact laws. That's all they do. They don't convict anybody. They don't file criminal charges. That's the separation of powers. So, Judge, what does more likely than not mean? We're talking about a former president. I would hope that you would have more than more likely than not. That's literally what he wrote in the judgment here. So the federal judge ruled Monday that President Donald Trump more likely than not attempted to illegally obstruct Congress as a part of a criminal conspiracy when he tried to subvert what happened in 2020. I'm a guest on YouTube, so I always have to come inside. Like if I come inside your house or your crib, I'm going to abide by your rules. Whether I like them or not is irrelevant. And in this case, I do truly believe this. Joe Biden is the president. In the Game of Thrones, it doesn't matter how you got to the throne. You could have used an army. You could have done whatever you needed to do. He has the throne, and you must abide by that. As bumbling of an idiot, and how sad it is to see a senior person, their mind just disintegrate in front of your very eyes, he is the president. There's no question there. I'm not questioning that. Okay, YouTube, you got that? What this is really about is the future. And what this really is about is all the people saying that you are a threat to democracy. They're accusing other people of being a threat to democracy. They are the true threats to democracy. U.S. District Court Judge David Carter made the determination in a ruling that ordered 101 sensitive emails from Trump ally John Eastman be turned over to the House J6 Select Committee. That committee has nothing to do with criminality of anything. It's unconstitutional for them to. The only reason Congress puts together a hearing, or the House in this case, is to enact law because of what we got the information for. We're just completely bastardizing this whole separation of powers. This is like civics 101. It's not even a high level of thought. Executive branch is the president. Legislative branch, all they do is laws. Legislate. They don't do any criminal anything. Well, looks like we're bridging those gaps. The judicial branch here is getting involved, allowing the legislative branch to get all kinds of text messages and all kinds of stuff on private citizens that they have no business getting. So the legislative branch has flexed on the judicial branch. Who knows if people have aspirations, or who knows who got paid off or what for these. I'm not accusing Judge Carter because I have no proof, but in general, we don't know what kind of dealings behind the scenes are going, so the legislative branch can flex and leverage the judicial. And I'm not going on blue or red team. I talked about Clarence Thomas, how I appreciated his wife, Ginny Thomas, but I don't like the conflict of interest he has with her private consulting firm, and he can have a case in front of him, and the person who has the case in front of him could be donating or using Ginny's services, basically paying them off the family, and nobody knows. I don't care about the red or blue team. I don't have time for that. But this is ridiculous here. So the judge comes on, and the judge wants to make a grandiose statement. This is a Bill Clinton appointed judge, by the way. Carter said that the plan Eastman developed was obviously illegal and that Trump knew it at the time. Based on what? He says, based on the evidence, the court finds it more likely than not. I think it's more likely than not that Will Smith slapped the hell out of Chris Rock, but I don't know that for sure. So I have to couch my statements. Well, I don't know if it was staged or not for sure. He finds it more likely than not. It's just couching his statement. I want to give you guys fodder who the end game right now, obviously, for this J6 committee isn't to find the truth about anything or do anything productive for the country. It's to sideline Trump. In the short term, they're concerned. Red wave midterms that could carry easily into Trump getting back in office. All this craziness with Ukraine and the pandemic and Black Lives Matter and riots. Wait until the summertime, y'all. This is the midterms. It's going to pop off like a general election. All that craziness is about Trump. And that's what this is. That's all this is. The remarkable ruling, maybe the first in history which a federal judge determined a president while in office appeared. Keyword. That's the key word. Appeared. I don't know. I can't emphasize that enough. Appeared, not definitively, not found guilty, not even charged, just appeared. That's our standard now. And I really don't care about Donald Trump. This is the principle of this situation. He appeared to commit a crime. The decision has no direct role in whether Trump will be charged criminally. No, yeah, I know it doesn't. But could increase pressure on the Justice Department and its chief attorney general. The feckless one is what I refer to him as. I've never seen a human being more, I don't want to use the word beta, more feckless and pathetic than Merrick Garland. This is the one Obama nominated for the Supreme Court. This guy he looks weaker than Bill Gates. Remember Bill Gates? I played the video. Bill Gates is rocking back and forth. Just look, this guy is even below that. I'm not saying he's not a smart person, but the guy's demeanor is just embarrassing. To conduct an aggressive investigation that could lead to such charges. So this is the legislative branch, knowing they have no judicial power, trying to put pressure on the judicial branch to give fodder to the DOJ. So one of y'all need to holler at Alvin Bragg. He came into office, DA New York, and Alvin Bragg said, you know what, as much as I wanted to get Trump and I ran a little bit on getting Trump, there's nothing here, and that's a different case. But y'all need to talk to him, because he was like, if I'm going to do this on a former president, I'm going to need a little more than this. So I hope if they do go that route with the DOJ, I hope they find something more than likely. I don't see anything from following this. Thus far, Garland has promised to probe legal violations at any level, but there have been virtually no outward signs that the DOJ is investigating Trump. We wouldn't know that if they are. They wouldn't unless they announced it. So Eastman, the judge that said this more than likely, a former Professor Chapman developed the legal, the Eastman is the lawyer for Trump. I'm sorry. I'm going to get to the judge here in a second. Helped develop the legal strategy Trump deployed to pressure Mike Pence. So I agree that I don't think Mike Pence had any ability at that point to stop anything. I don't think he did. But they haven't shown me that Trump did anything illegal, though. And I'm going to get to Ted Cruz here in a second. Carter's ruling, Carter is the judge that was appointed by Clinton. His ruling said our nation was founded on the peaceful transition of power, epitomized by George Washington laying down his sword to make way for democratic elections. Ignoring this history, President Trump vigorously campaigned for the vice president to single-handedly determine the results in the 2020 election. With a plan this bold, President Trump knowingly tried to subvert this fundamental principle. And my answer to that is, so what? Do you have a legal charge? Do you have a criminal charge there? I don't agree with it. I said it at the time. It's over. I wanted the Supreme Court. I'm going to get to Ted Cruz in a second. The avenue that I wanted was the Supreme Court to hear the Texas case. That's the avenue. This, from my reading, I'm not any expert, but I did dig into that. I think Pence is right. There's nothing he could do. So I disagree with some lawyers out there that say, I don't see where they're saying that. Maybe they're right. I would listen to them, but I couldn't find anything to back up what they're saying. Pence couldn't do anything at that point. What kind of sense does that even make? It makes no sense if the vice president could do that at any election. It doesn't even make logical sense. Here's my takeaway, though. No, I'm not for the whole video yet, but my takeaway in this section here. J6 committee, if it was a real committee about finding out what to do, how did J6 happen? What could we have done better? Instead of just taking people's text messages and putting Bryson Gray on a hit list. And I think Posavec was on it and all kinds of people who didn't even do anything, weren't even there. If they were for real, they would say, okay, President Trump tried to pressure Pence. What do we need to do to change the laws or the rules? I don't know technically if it's a law or a rule, to not allow that, to make it clear, because it is ambiguous. I will say that, to make it clearer what can or can't happen at that moment, right? That's what a real committee would do. Obviously, this is not a real committee. So this decision helps shore up a theory increasingly embraced by members of the J6 Select Committee that Trump seized on legal strategies he knew were meritless in order to subvert the transfer of power to Joe Biden. So what? Are you saying that that's illegal? Okay, charge them. That's not going to go anywhere. And if it did, go ahead and cancel Christmas, because it's over. The union is what I'm talking about. If you go ahead, charge Trump on this nonsense and convict him and say he can't run again, go ahead and cancel the union, cancel Christmas, cancel the 4th of July, because it's over. So let's stop playing these games. By this ruling, Carter agreed that 10 of the emails should be remain shielded. So he's just talking about the emails here. These are emails that the J6 committee, they're digging into everybody's text messages and emails and tracking. And some companies are just giving them information without even saying, no, you need a subpoena. Here's Carter. Carter, who sits in Los Angeles, hell on earth, Los Angeles, Democratic hellhole, Los Angeles, the city that everyone's fleeing from, Los Angeles. It makes a lot of sense now. Carter, who sits in Los Angeles, the hellhole, I'm ad-libbing here, and is an appointee of President Bill, middle name corruption, Clinton. We can't, man. We're gonna be old, and our grandchildren are gonna be talking about here's a Clinton, somebody who has 6 degrees of separation to the Clintons and corruption. Acknowledged long shot arguments by Eastman that the 1887 law governing the tallying and certification of electoral votes was at odds with the Constitution. However, the judge said that did not permit Trump the right to defy the statute or to seek to persuade Pence to circumvent it. Is that illegal? Oh, it's more than likely illegal. It's more than likely. I think it might be 50.0000001% likely. So that's the nuts and bolts of that. You might see this circulating on Twitter as complete garbage. It's utter garbage, and they are the threats to our country, without question to me.